Corruption is a menace which has infested India since times immemorial. It is blamed for stunting the economy of a country. A study conducted by Transparency International in the year 2005 recorded that more than 62% of the Indians had at some point paid a bribe to a public official to get a job done. In the year 2021, their corruption perception index ranked the country 85th place out of 180 on a scale where the lowest ranked countries are perceived to have the most honest public sector. In order to curb the corruption, we gave to us certain provisions of Indian Penal Code 1860, prosecution under the Income Tax Act 1961, Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, Benami Transaction Prohibition Act 1988, and Prevention of Money Laundering Act. India is also a signatory to United Nations Convention Against Corruption since the year 2005. We also ratified it in the year 2011. The battle against corruption is still on, and with that motive in mind, we are here to launch a book that contains concise literature to counter it. Namaste, pranam, and a very good evening to all the dignitaries and esteemed guests present here. It is indeed warm, literally and metaphorically. We have assembled here today for the launch of a book titled as Anti-Corruption Law, Practice and Procedure, written by Dr. A.K. Gautam. I can call this as a handbook of laws pertaining to Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. Before moving forward, I would like to tell you certain things about this book. The treatise succinctly and systematically depicts the evolutionary statutory growth and history of every section of the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 in this particular book. It covers all areas of law related to the subject and the requirements of lawyers, courts, and law enforcement agencies. To top on that, it would also be helpful to law students. One can get the entire historical perceptions of each section of the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 in this book instead of searching at various places. The book deals with in-depth legal aspect of practice and procedure being adopted by investigating agencies and law enforcement authorities to lay a trap while catching a public servant while demanding and accepting a bribe. The treatise also deals with the various legal aspects of free, fair, and full investigation in the matters of disproportionate assets because the investigating officers and public prosecutors play a critical role in the entire process of criminal investigation and prosecution. This book clearly, cogently, and efficiently describes the copious legal aspects of the criminal investigation, prosecution, and criminal appeal. The book also contains lucid examinations of various statutory provisions of laws which are meant for protecting and implementing the rights of the accused. The book also contains most of the important case laws of the Supreme Court since the year 1988, that is from the date when the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 came into force, and also makes comparative study with the old Act of 1947. The noticeable features of the Prevention of Corruption and Amendment Act 2018 and chart prescribing the penalty of offences under the Act are given separately to make the book more comprehensive. Detailed synopsis with clear short titles and headings have also been added for more clarity. It contains an exhaustive and lucid exposition of the law, and the author's comments are precise, pointed, and concise. Also, the resource commentary for all the stakeholders involved in the fight of eradication and prevention of corruption are also incorporated in this particular book. The treaties cover all the important judgments delivered by the Supreme Court of India. The cardinal legal principle and case laws which explains the statutory provisions and law laid down by the Supreme Court have been clearly mentioned. The case laws have been arranged in a very convenient manner with short titles and headings. This book is a precise and concise commentary on the subject in hand. It covers all the legal facets which arose during the implementation of the anti-corruption laws. The book clarifies in a pellucid manner the complexities, intricacies, niceties, and nuances of the law, practice, and procedure relating to the investigation and prosecution of anti-corruption matters. The author has also incorporated many useful tips, tricks, and practical hints for free, fair, and full investigation, prosecution, and defense in order to secure the ends of justice. Thank you so much, sir. Before moving forward, I would also like to tell you about the journey of our author today. So this compelling and riveting book has been written by Dr. A.K. Gautam, sir. I would like to shed some light on his spectacular tenure as a lawyer and now as an author. Dr. A.K. Gautam is a lawyer by profession and is known for being a criminal lawyer. Sir possesses special knowledge in the field of anti-corruption laws and has vast experiences in criminal trials and criminal appeals across the courts in Delhi. In 1984, he began his practice in the District and Sessions Court, Agra, and in the High Court of Judicature at Allahabad. In the year 1991, he was appointed as the Assistant Public Prosecutor for Group B in CBI on the recommendation of the Union Public Service Commission and worked as such in CBI Lucknow and Dehradun. In the year 1994, he was appointed as public prosecutor for Group A Gazetted on the recommendation of the UPSC as a direct recruit and worked in CBI Dehradun and conducted a number of anti-corruption, conventional, sensational cases and dealt with service matters as well. In the year 2002, he was appointed as a senior public prosecutor on the recommendations of the UPSC as a direct recruit in CBI and topped the merit list. He worked as such and conducted cases on behalf of CBI in various courts. After completing his Bachelor of Sciences and Bachelors of Law degree, he pursued studies in political science. He also completed his Masters of Law degree in political science, where his research work was on human rights and international law from Agra University, which also awarded him a doctorate of philosophy, a PhD degree. During study of Master of Laws, he did specialized study on the preventive detention and submitted a dissertation on the topic titled as Right to Personal Liberty and Administrative Process in Preventive Detention to the university. Having completed LLM degree, he also did research work in constitutional law from Kurukshetra University, Haryana, which awarded him a Doctor of Philosophy degree in laws. Now we will proceed forward, and I would like to felicitate the guests that have spared time from their busy schedules and readily agreed to be here. Please come, sir. May I request Advocate Ankita Gautam, who's also a guest faculty at Delhi University, to kindly come and felicitate our chief guest for the event today, Honorable Justice Mr. Rajiv Sahai in law, and sir has also been a judge at the Supreme Court. Delhi High Court. My deepest apologies.
No offense taken.
I'm really sorry, sir.
It's the same. Thank you so much.
May I now call upon Advocate Harsh Gautam ji to kindly felicitate our guest of honor for the event. Our chief guest for the event, Honorable Justice Mr. Satish Kumar Agnihotri, former Chief Justice, High Court of Sikkim. May I now call upon Ms. Amani Ahuja to kindly come and felicitate the chief guest, come author, come everyone. He's at the limelight today, Dr. A.K. Gautam. We are now proceeding for the book launch, the book release, titled as Anti-Corruption Law, Practice and Procedure.
I have one here. So it's you made me study it yesterday night. All yours after that.
Congratulations, sir. May I now request Dr. A.K. Gautam to kindly address by giving an opening remark.
Namaskar. Very good evening. Very good evening to everyone. Very good evening to everyone. I am extremely thankful and grateful from the core of my heart to the gracious presence of Chief Justice of the program, Honorable Mr. Justice Satish K. Agnotri, former Chief Justice, High Court of Sikkim. Guest of honor, Honorable Mr. Justice Rajiv Sai Andlo, former Judge, Delhi High Court. Shri Vinay Ahuja, Managing Director, Mohan Law House, India, publisher of the book, and Honorable sitting and former judges of High Court and District Court. My learned friend and officers of CBI, Enforcement Directorate, NIA and other ministries of Government of India and Armed Forces. My brothers and sisters of media, my esteemed colleagues, friends, relatives and family members. I am deeply indebted to my Lord Honorable Mr. Justice Hemant Gupta, Judge Supreme Court of India, for inscribing introduction to this treatise. Today, he couldn't attend the function due to some health issue. We are missing him. I have been conducting cases of Prevention of Corruption Act for more than 32 years in various courts. I have had the opportunity of conducting matters on behalf of the Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI) in various courts, including Delhi High Court and also from the defense side. Keeping in view my experience of anti-corruption matters, late Sri Mohan Ahuja, the then Managing Director and founder of Mohan Law House, India, suggested me for writing a book on anti-corruption law in a precise and concise manner, covering most of the cases decided by Honorable Supreme Court after the enactment of the PC Act, and highlighting the principles of law laid down by the Honorable Supreme Court. After his sad demise, Mr. Vinay Ahuja reminded me the suggestions of his father and requested me for writing a book on anti-corruption law. Actually, the motivational force behind this treatise is of late Sri Mohan Ahuja. As everybody knows, nowadays corruption is no longer a local matter, but a transnational phenomenon that affects all nations, societies, and economies of the countries. Corruption has posed a serious and grave threat to the sustainable development of people and all nations. Prevention and eradication of corruption is a legal responsibility of all states and individuals. It is not a new phenomenon. In fact, in 1860, when the Indian Penal Code was enacted, it also defined and provided punishment for the offences of bribery and corruption amongst public servants. During the World War II, it was felt that the existing sections of the Indian Penal Code were not adequate to meet the exigencies of time, and an imperative need was felt for a special law. Due to this, the PC Act was enacted in 1947. It was further amended in 1952, 1964 and 1967 to make the anti-corruption laws more effective by widening their coverage and enhancing the penalties for the offences. In 1988, the Prevention of Corruption Act was enacted. This was further amended in 2014 and 2018. The ratification by India of the United Nations Convention against Corruption, the international practice on treatment of the offense of bribery and corruption, and judicial pronouncements necessitated a review of the existing provisions of the Act. Owing to this, it was amended. I would like to tell why did I author this treatise and what is the object and purpose behind it. During my professional experience of more than 37 years as public prosecutor, senior public prosecutor, special public prosecutor, and defense lawyer, I realized that in our criminal justice system, accused persons are not by mere charge of an offense denuded of all the human, basic, constitutional and statutory rights which they otherwise possess. Sometimes an innocent public servant who discharges his official duties with utmost integrity in the public interest may suffer from arrest, detention, investigation and prosecution for no reason or for some flimsy reason due to some departmental rivalry, or he may be implicated by someone in order to settle personal score, or sometimes criminal proceeding may be instituted against him maliciously with an ulterior motive for wreaking vengeance with a view to spite the public servant due to private and personal grudge. In this scenario, it is the onerous duty of the bar, law enforcement agencies and honorable courts to equip with law, practice and procedure of the investigation and prosecution of the offences relating to the Prevention of Corruption Act for free, fair and full investigation in order to secure the ends of justice and to speed up the trial so that our justice system can be more strengthened. For this purpose, a ready referencer putting together all the relevant cases, laws of the apex court is essential. I felt essential. Owing to this, I dealt with the law laid down by the Supreme Court since the enactment of the PC Act for the advantage of the bar, courts and law enforcement agencies. Having realized these facts, I felt a referencer compiling all the relevant case laws of the apex court is essential. Due to this, I dealt with the law laid down by the Supreme Court since the enactment of the PC Act in my treatise. I have tried to depict the evolutionary statutory history of anti-corruption law succinctly and systematically in my treatise. After 26 July 2018, when the amendment of PC Act came into force, I have been thinking about putting at one place every section of the Act along with its statutory history and the law laid down by the Supreme Court regarding interpretation of terminology used in the section by the legislature and principles laid down by the Honorable Supreme Court for appreciation of evidence. I have also dealt in my treatise in detail the legal aspects of the practice and procedure being adopted by the investigating agency and the law enforcing authorities to lay a trap while catching a public servant while demanding and accepting illegal gratification other than legal remuneration and also disproportionate assets cases. I have tried to describe the copious legal aspects of the criminal investigation, prosecution, and criminal appeal clearly and cogently in my treatise. My treatise also contains lucid examinations of various statutory provisions which are meant for protecting and implementing the rights of the accused. I have tried to clarify in a lucid manner the complexities, intricacies, niceties, and nuances of the law, practice, and procedure relating to investigation and prosecution of anti-corruption matters. I hope my treatise would undoubtedly serve as an efficacious and informative resource for the members of the legal fraternity. If I do not acknowledge my pillars of strength, my address would not be complete. I would like to express my love and affection to my children, Ankita and Harsh. Both are practicing advocates, have contributed in writing this treatise by giving me foundational materials and various ideas. A special mention and my deep love and affection to my son-in-law, Abhishek Sharma, who has also encouraged me while writing this treatise. I also express my thanks to one of my juniors, Nitin Juyal, who is like a son to me, for putting extra late night hours at my office while preparing this treatise. I also express my deepest gratitude to my respectable mother-in-law, Srimati Pushpa Gautam, for persistently emboldening me for writing this treatise. My wife, Neeta Gautam, always encouraged me and also kept me conscious to complete the work on time. My sincere thanks to Sri Vinay Ahuja, Managing Director, Mohan Law House, India, and his entire team for giving me various ideas regarding book. Finally, I dedicate this treatise to my late grandmother, Bohari Asarfi Devi ji, whose great, noble, and deeply pious soul is always deepest reverence for me and my family. I could accomplish the present book with divine and heavenly blessings of my respected and reverend father, late Dr. R.C. Gautam, and father-in-law, late Sri R.P. Gautam. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. A.K. Gautam, for navigating us through the book. The honorable guest of honor for the day is Justice Mr. Rajiv Sahai and Law. And sorry, sir.
No,
For
you don't
change.
have to apologize.
Sir has been a former judge of Delhi High Court. Sir have had a roaring practice on the original side of the court prior to his elevation. Sir was born in the year 1959, precisely on 13th August 1959 at New Delhi. Sir studied at Delhi Public School, Mathura Road, and passed the CBSE examination the year 1976, and post that joined Hans Raj College, Delhi University. Sir finished LLB from my alma mater, Campus Law Center, Delhi University, and Sir was enrolled as an advocate with the Bar Council of Delhi in July of 1982. Initially, Sir joined in a solicitor's firm for 3 years and thereafter practiced law in Delhi High Court and subordinate courts, mostly on the original side in the field of real estate, family, civil, and arbitration laws. Sir was appointed as additional judge of Delhi High Court on 11th April 2008 and became permanent judge on 6/7/2011. Sir retired on 12th of August 2011. 2021. May I now call upon our esteemed guest of honor, Justice Sahai, to give address to the audience today. Over to you, sir.
I think most of you may not be able to see the two other dignitaries who are here amongst us. So I must start by mentioning them: Justice Mendirata from the High Court and Mr. Chetan Sharma, Additional Solicitor General in the Delhi High Court. Then of course, my dear friend Justice Dama Seshadri Naidu. I am here before you as a last minute addition to Justice Agnihotri, owing to the absence of the de jure chief guest for the evening, Justice Hemant Gupta. So I'll attempt to fill in the large shoes which Justice Hemant Gupta wears, and my friend here was kind enough to place me alongside him. So though he cannot be here amongst us, but Mr. Ahuja was kind enough to present me with a book yesterday night, and I'll just read out. Justice Gupta has written the introduction to the book, and I would be failing in my duty if I don't read the excerpts from him. I think that is the least we can do to make up for his absence today.
No, he has sent a message also.
Yes. So he has said in praise of Dr. Gautam that, I quote, this book accurately highlights the legal niceties, nuances and technicalities of the Act. The synopsis of every section refers to various topics with clear head notes and brings out the complexities of the anti-corruption laws in a very clear, concise and lucid manner for easy comprehension of the readers. This treatise is bound to prove very useful to those discharging their legal duties and dealing with the anti-corruption laws. It will also create awareness amongst the people of their rights against corrupt public servants by seeking legal recourse. The task undertaken by the author was not a simple but an extremely challenging one, but he certainly completed it successfully. It cannot be gainsaid that a thorough and sound knowledge of anti-corruption laws, practice and procedure is essential to a successful lawyer, judge, prosecutor and officer of the investigating agencies. This book, I hope, would prove to be a commendable Vedmiyam for the readers, unquote. So I think Justice Hemant Gupta has said all that has to be said for the evening with respect to the book, for the launch of which all of us are gathered here. Now friends, having done a lot of drafting in my career as a lawyer and as a judge, because I was mostly drafting pleadings and then judgments, what I have learned is that authoring a book is not an easy task, or for that matter, authoring anything. Even if the subject is your bread and butter and you are dealing with it day in, day out, but still to sit down and take out time at the cost of your vocation or your profession cannot be achieved. And I had occasion to deal with some authors, and a large number of publishers blame me for that Delhi University copyright case. That what I gathered in my research while penning that judgment was that the authors are not really doing it as a monetary gain or anything. And the monetary gain to an author is never enough to compensate for the time. So it's the sheer love of the subject which makes or propels the author to write. And of course the publishers, Mr. Ahuja was very kind yesterday to visit me and present me with this book. But I have a publisher next door to where I am living now, and he every day reminds me when I go out to pick up the newspaper that because of you my business is finished. So So it was a pleasure meeting Mr. Ahuja yesterday. Not many publishers like to call me. Now, friends, so I take this opportunity to compliment and congratulate Dr. Gautam for all that he has done. And of course, the compliments are also due to Mrs. Gautam, because and Dr. Gautam acknowledges her contribution. Without her permitting the time, it would not have been possible for Dr. Gautam. And all the erudition of Mr. Gautam would not have taken shape but for Mr. Ahuja. So compliments and credits and congratulations are also due to him. And on behalf of the legal fraternity also, I would like to thank you, Mr. Ahuja, because I know you don't earn much from this, but because the Copyright Act has finished a large part of it and the photocopying of the books, but still it's again a commendable exercise you are doing for the profession, because I was discussing with him yesterday night that the journals may be over. The journals, we all have the SCC online or Manupatra or so many others, India Kanun. But whenever something new comes to a lawyer, and which happens every day, it is always the textbook which the lawyer goes to first before he knows where to start looking for the case law. So without the textbooks, we would all be lost in the legal profession. The last thing, friends, I was quite surprised when Justice Naidu requested me to add to Justice Agnihotri, because those of you who may be familiar with my legal journey, as a lawyer or as a judge, I have never practiced on the law of crimes. So I am in no position to say anything in praise of Dr. Gautam myself as far as the merits of the books are concerned, because I have no knowledge of the subject. But I would like to say one thing about corruption, that the law and practice of corruption comes when the act or the malice has already occurred. But what all of us need to deliberate is that it's a part of our character today. Either we are corrupt or we are not corrupt. And corruption has different facets. And so what we need to do, and we have a very good example nowadays, we are reading a lot about President Zelensky in Ukraine. Now what I have read about him is that he was a stand-up comedian, and the platform on which he won the election was corruption. And he made it in such a nice way that ordinary people could start understanding him. And I have known of instances where corruption, because corruption, Justice Gupta also in his introduction has said that, may I just read out, it will be unfair to say, to misquote him. He has said that one such menace is corruption, and India is no exception to it. Corruption is like a termite. It keeps growing and makes the entire political and social system hollow from within. Now, corruption has come back to hit the people who are corrupt. I don't mean exactly them, their families, their friends. If a bad road is made owing to corruption of the engineer or the contractor, it's not only the strangers who travel on that road. It's also the family members and the progeny and the siblings of the contractor and the engineer. So if owing to the quality of construction not being good, owing to corruption, an accident occurs and a demise occurs, it can occur to anyone. And so I have found in a large number of, because I recently also had occasion to sit on the service bench for about a couple of years. And what I found is that people who made wrong appointments, ultimately after a few years, their own people started suffering owing to the wrong appointments which were made. So we have to look at corruption in that way and maybe introduce it in culture building from the very, character building from the very small age of the child, so that the child does not even think about it or treats it as something. Because today, as far as I am able to gather from the society, it's no longer considered as a crime. It's supposed to be a quality, whether you are corrupt or you are not corrupt. So I would request and commend to all of you to just deliberate on that, because we as a society only can do something about it. Dr. Gautam is there to take care of it after the event has occurred. But let's try to avoid the event. Thank you very much. Thank you.
आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर. Thank you, Honorable Justice Mr. Rajiv Sahai in law. Moving on to the next part, may I now request the chief guest for the day, Honorable Justice Mr. Satish K. Agnihotri, and sir has been a former Chief Justice of the High Court of Sikkim. Justice Satish Kumar Agnihotri, after having completed graduation in science and post-graduation in history from APS University, Rewa, shifted to Delhi to obtain Bachelor of Law degree from Delhi University in the year 1982. Sir was enrolled with the Bar Council of Delhi in August of 1982 and commenced practice of legal profession after that. His lordship was appointed as standing counsel on the civil side for the state of Madhya Pradesh in October 1988 in the Supreme Court of India and continued as such till the date of elevation, which is 5th May 2005 to the High Court of Chhattisgarh as judge. Sir assumed office as judge of the Madras High Court on 26 September 2013. Further, assumed office of the Chief Justice as the acting Chief Justice, Madras High Court on 13th February 2014 and continued as such until 25th July 2014. His Lordship thereafter assumed the charge of the office of the Honorable Chief Justice, High Court of Sikkim in the forenoon of 22/9/2016 and Sir retired on 30th June 2018. आपका स्वागत है सर. आप प्लीज़ आएँ और इस ऑडियंस को यहाँ पे इस बुक लॉन्च के बारे में अपने विचार प्रकट करें और प्रस्तुत करें.
My dear friend, Justice Endla, Dr. Gautam, Dr. Vinay Ahuja, Justice Mendiratta, all my old friends, senior advocates, and other friends, respected ladies and gentlemen. Corruption is named as menace, termite. I say it is behemoth. It really destroys the vitals of a happy, progressive society. Now it has drawn a global attention. You all know, United Nations was created for the purpose of peace and security around the world, and also to ensure a global war like the World War II does not happen again, or to protect future generations from the scourge of war, has now also taken up the widespread corruption on 21st January 2002 to reduce various types of corruption globally. Of course, India came on the scene very late by ratifying only in January in 2011. Recently, United Nations have examined various reports and surveys in recent agenda to be fulfilled by 2030. And you know what is the figure? 1.5 billion people globally have been denied proper justice, criminal, civil, administrative justice. They are unable to defend themselves from violence, crime, to protect their rights, resolve their disputes. Here how it is in the society, as Brother Endla has pointed out. I am reminded of an example. As a judge, I had a flat in Supreme Society, and this was for freehold. An application was made. Of course, using my office, I asked my people to go and get forms and I'll get signature. All right, everything was done. So it was signed, and I was told, sir, it is done. And when it is done, then office clerk, not office clerk of my office, came to me and said, sir, you have to pay this much. I said, what for? He said, sir, I have promised. I have already paid. You have to pay it. Now what to do in such a situation? This is a corruption. The officers knew I am a judge. A man who is getting hardly few thousand per month has already paid the amount. What to do? Either make a complaint or say, oh, I will not pay. He will suffer. So this has crept in the society. How to remove it? That we have to find out. Recently, even after retirement, this water bill, it was exponential, running into thousands. Anyhow, I approached somebody, please do something for it. One officer from Jal Board approached me, sir, it can be done, but you have to do something. I said, what I have to do? No. Somebody will come, you have to take care of him. And ultimately, I had to pay this bill running into few thousand. I said, no, I won't do it. And now, of course, every month they are reporting. It's a negative. How to do it? Electricity bill. First condition is you have to make the payment. How to do it? Now, Dr. Gautam will take care in his book, if not taken this year, when they amend it. See, the most important what the union, this global bodies are taking into account is this. The most important part is asset recovery. How to do it, asset recovery? You prosecute a person who has amassed wealth, he has collected from so many sources. But what is the law for this? How to recover and restore to the original owner? I don't think there is any law or any practice on this. Likewise, globally, if a country has illicitly taken properties of others, how to restore? This also Dr. Gautam has to look into. See, this is public money, how it will go to public? This no law deals with it. This is very important. It has different forms, of course, everybody, not only bribe, trading, abuse of functions. So many aspects are there. And see, you take up a cause under anti-graft law when somebody is caught or some cases filed. Then what is the practice, what is the procedure, how to investigate him, how to prosecute him, how to punish him. This is one aspect. But what to do in other cases? Now see, it's a very unfortunate. What is happening in Sri Lanka? Look at Sri Lanka. Democracy is collapsing. Life is collapsing. What happened in Mundaka? This recently, few days back. This is also a result of corruption. Building was allowed to go up, no permission, no fire, and now so many people have died. How will restore their life to them? This everyone has to think. One very interesting fact has come. We have to think. Low income countries and territories are most exposed to corruption. And the figure comes around 36.6%. High income group is much less. Recently, this happiness index has come. All these Nordic countries. It is found that least corrupt countries are most happy countries. In India, unfortunately, where do we stand? In the index, we stand at 136. Much behind even Pakistan, Bhutan and Nepal. Why? We never thought of. But it has a link with corruption. And if corruption is... Now the figure has further come. One business out of 6 has faced a request from public officials for bribe payments. This is equally important. Internationally, it is recognized that the costless form of corruption could not happen without institutions. I would say sadly, who is the front runner? Who is occupying the driving seat? The first is advocates. And second is bankers, accountants. We all have to look into that. Of course, it leads to many things, national wastage, theft and all. Law enforcement agencies must present an opportunity to build a clean, this is our responsibility, legal fraternity's responsibility, to build a clean, accountable, and transparent system by introducing the highest standard of integrity to plug entry point. How to plug entry point we have to consider. All other things you all know very well, I don't want to go into. This book, I'll deal with the now author, respected author, why this book is important. In every book it is said, well-researched book, but this is one book that is well-experienced person and well-researched book. It is said, there is no substitute of experience. The experience of Dr. Gautam with regions and research, this book has come out. And I'm sure my brother has read, in-law has read the book, but I could not see the book. But I'm sure he must have dealt with all these things. If author is the Atma of any knowledge, we must not forget the publisher or seller. They are disseminator of knowledge. If the knowledge is not disseminated, not reach out to the people, consumer of the knowledge, then there is no use. You must have put a lot of research, you must have taken your experience. And here at this juncture, I would like to pay a tribute to Mohan Ahuja, father of Dr. Binay Ahuja. We all have seen. Mr. Hansaria is here. Both of us more or less started practice together when we needed books. And Mohan Ahuja did not have that big car like his son Dr. Binay Ahuja has, either sometimes by scooter, sometimes by bus. But one thing he ensured, if any junior needed a book at any point of time, whether it is summer, having 45-degree temperature, or cold, he will take the book and deliver it to you at late evening, late night. And he won't ask, okay, you first give me money. Okay, you will give me money, I know it. And I have seen personally, under scorching heat, he used to have a lot of books on his shoulders, taking to advocates. He deserves this, so I pay my homage, my tribute to him. And Dr. Binay Ahuja will continue this legacy and disseminate this knowledge to each and everyone, every needy person. And one more thing I would suggest to him, if he can follow this, if a junior needs some help and he is not in position to give you money immediately, please help him out. And with this, I again compliment Dr. Gautam, and I hope that in future he would incorporate all those important aspects which, according to me, is most important to deal with this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Justice Mr. Satish K. Agnihotri. Unfortunately, Honorable Justice Hemant Kumar Gupta was not able to join us today owing to his ill health. I have a message which is written by him, which I would like to read. Dear Justice Satish K. Agnihotri, Dr. A.K. Gautam, Shri Vinay Ahuja, other dignitaries sitting on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for not able to personally attend the book launch function of a book authored by A.K. Gautam on anti-corruption law, practice and procedure due to health issues. The corruption has many colors and shades. In India, people feel pinch of corruption more because of its wider spectrum in day-to-day affairs of life. In Western world and in America, one does not encounter corruption in day-to-day activities, but to say such countries are free from corruption may not be correct. Right to Information Act and resort to technology are the giant step towards ensuring transparency and corruption-less India. It is face-to-face contact which is the foundation of all corruption-related incidents. If the day-to-day life becomes smooth, where people don't have to stand in queue for daily chores, it will lead to corruption-free life. We have progressed quite a bit, but still more needs to be done. However, book Anti-Corruption Law, Practice and Procedure is not going to be out of circulation, as corruption has deep and pervasive roots in our social setup. Therefore, the book and the corruption will continue to stay for some more time, till such time the person-to-person contact for getting the job by the citizens get obliterated. I congratulate Dr. Gautam to author such a practical book for the help of students of law and the general public alike. I also thank Mr. Vinay Ahuja, the publisher of this book. Mr. Ahuja should ensure wide circulation so that the book is available to all students of law. Thank you. We are reaching towards the tapering end. May I now call upon Dr. Vinay Ahuja for vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm thankful to everyone who are here in the hall. I would like to express my gratitude and sincere thanks to Honorable Mr. Justice Hemant Gupta, who gave a kind consent to release this book, but unfortunately he could not make it last minute because of his illness. I'm thankful to the Honorable Justice Mr. Satish K. Agnihotri, former Chief Justice of Sikkim High Court, could take out time from his busy schedule to present with us today. We are thankful for kind presence. Your words about my father have touched all of our hearts. Thank you, sir. We are extremely thankful to our author, Dr. A.K. Gautam, who has shown interest and shown the confidence in us for this book. Thank you, sir. It is an immense pleasure for us that Honorable Mr. Rajiv Sahay and Law, former Judge, Delhi High Court, could join our event and grace us with this presence as the guest of honor. Thank you, sir. So I express my gratitude to all my friends, dignitaries, invitees, and guests who are present in this hall and those who have joined us online. Thank you, everyone, and I request everyone to join us for the high tea. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of everyone, I congratulate you.
Thank you.
We'll now proceed to high tea.
चलो ये चाय भी पी लेते हैं कहाँ पे है